In its early days, the purpose was to bring together like-minded people to create something as a group. I've never had so much fun in my life. Sometimes it's sublimely beautiful. Other times it's kind of organised chaos.
It was sad, a musical idea that could have been followed up in an interesting way, could have developed to something new and fresh. I think it was an interesting experiment that went wrong.
I'm a founder member of Portsmouth Sinfonia, and I became de facto leader of the orchestra. I remember the first rehearsal, and we kicked off and it was absolute chaos, but we all looked at each other and said, that was rather wonderful, wasn't it? Let's do it again. And it was completely different the second time. But the humour was purely accidental. It wasn't like laugh now. It's because it was trying not to be funny. I was introduced to Martin, and once he understood what the Sinfonia was about, he was away. He saw it working on all these different levels. He is a publicity genius.
I know how the media works. They like something that's a novelty. They like something that's unusual. Playing the media was like a violinist playing a Stradivarius. I could play them. I love this. Yeah, it was manipulation, you could call it that, but it became bigger than I even could dream. So I decided I'm going to call them the world's worst orchestra. I've got an orchestra that can't play. Really? Could we have them in the studio? Bingo. We were being well appreciated, with one or two exceptions.
I found it rather dull. The trouble was that it didn't have many new ideas. I'm a musician, an intellectual, an artist. Martin Lewis was a publicist who jumped on bandwagons. He had no ideas of his own, really.
I found Meirion to be an enchanting chap. He was from the classical world. He wrote for the Guardian newspaper. He was full of admiration for how brilliantly I'd done this publicity. I said, we've just signed a group called the Portsmouth Sinfonia and I'm going to work on them. Oh, you don't think that you should be working on them? They're not very good, you know. I said, well, that's the point. Of course they're not very good.
I mean, I could be nice to him and help him and all the rest, but I knew that when I was dealing with him, I was dealing with someone who was absolute idiot, really.
We had dinner one night and I said, you can't believe it, I've got us a concert at the Albert Hall. We're going to be playing at the Albert Hall. And Meirion was really disenchanted. He said, well, that's not fair, you shouldn't be doing that.
Gaffer was quite serious about what he wanted to do with the Portsmouth Sinfonia. Sadly, it got a bad reputation because it was invaded by art students who messed around. They were just sort of rebels.
4 weeks before the Albert Hall concert, suddenly a full page in The Guardian, and it was a full-on attack on the Portsmouth Sinfonia, on Transatlantic Records, the company I worked for that was releasing the Sinfonia, and on me. Meirion Bowen had a rather choice use of vocabulary: revolutionaries, weirdos, dropouts, and schizoid.
Did he really say that? What an arsehole. Well, there's a few truths in there. We were art students, certainly weren't schizoid.
He put in a line, Martin Lewis, himself a frustrated composer.
A frustrated composer? I think it was perfectly accurate. I got a letter from one of the players who said, if I ever turn up to their concerts again, I'll punch you on the nose.
I don't approve of hitting schoolgirls, so I would not have approved of this myself. If he was hoping to have an effect on ticket sales at the Albert Hall, he did. Before the article appeared, we'd sold out about 25% of the house. 2 days later, we'd sold 75% of the house.
Leaving the Albert Hall that night after, we just sat on the steps roaring with laughter. We couldn't believe that we'd actually done it.
It's fascinating to see the exotic and the strange and the disconcerting suddenly become normal and straightforward.
It taught me a great lesson. Music should not be about some elite, it should be about community. And Bernard Miles, a wise old bird, understood it instinctively. And he said, now everyone can play.